You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, a Hennepin County judge has set a tentative trial date for the former Minneapolis cop responsible for the death of Daunte Wright. A pre-trial hearing for Kim Potter took place via video conference today, where Judge Regina Chu determined there was enough probable cause to support charges against the former officer. Potter fatally shot Wright last month during an attempt to take him into custody. She claimed she thought she pulled her taser rather than her gun. Potter is charged with second-degree manslaughter, an offense that carries a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. Her tentative trial date is set for December 6th. Folks, also in Minneapolis, the fatal shooting of Daunte Wright is making the city of Brooklyn Center change how it approaches public safety. On Saturday, Brooklyn Center's City Council passed the Daunte Wright and Kobe Dimock-Heisler Community Safety and Violence Prevention Act, a sweeping public safety resolution that will revamp the city's police force with more independent oversight. The resolution, introduced by Mayor Mike Elliott, creates new departments for community safety to oversee the police and fire departments. It also includes a division of unarmed civilians to handle non-moving traffic violations and respond to mental health distress calls. Mayor Elliott is calling it a new North Star for policing. That point there, Avis, that last point there, creating a division of unarmed civilians to handle non-moving traffic violations and mental health distress calls. Yeah, this is what people who have been asked to talk about defund the police, what they're talking about. Figure out different ways of interacting with people and not just send cops with guns and badges.
Absolutely. So this is really what people mean when they talk about reimagining, literally, policing and making sure that there are different ways in which we can develop systems for individuals to be seen by either mental health care professionals if they're having some sort of mental health disturbance, or other people who are not armed and, likely to just pop off and shoot and kill somebody for no good reason based on a very, very minor violation. I'm glad to see that the mayor has moved forward in this way, and this particular city is moving forward in this way under the eyes of the world, quite frankly, are on them, specifically given the timing of this particular murder and where they're located. But I'm hoping that as this continues to move forward, that other cities will begin to move in this direction as well, because at the bottom line is this is the type of thing that we hope that we get the Justice and Policing Act signed, but the bottom line is this is something that cities need to handle on a city by city and state by state basis to really proliferate the nation as it should. And I'm hoping this can be a model for others to continue to move in that direction as well.
And Julian, cities should be doing this before someone is fatally killed. I mean, that's the issue here. They should be thinking about different ways to react to the public, as opposed to always basing it on sending a cop, and then we see what happens when that happens.
Exactly. I mean, I think it makes no sense whatsoever for us to do these cleanup, well, I call them the cleanup acts. Something happens and you go try to clean it up. Well, you're never going to get the person's life back. So we really need to be careful up front. And I'm glad that the mayor especially has shown a light on this, but there's so much more that needs to be done. As Avis says, the Justice and Policing Act, must be passed. It may or may not be given the Senate, but this is something I would expect President Biden to go on a limb for, given just the proliferation of these kinds of deaths. But it's more than just the Justice and Policing Act. It's really about starting over at some level with police attitudes, really trying to essentially retrain the police or fire some of them. Change the ways that people qualify to be police officers. You have a bunch of uneducated, very young, white police officers who are taught all their bad habits, and then they basically go run around killing people. Although they're not all very young. This woman in Miss Potter, whomever, who shot the young man thinking her taser was a gun, please. She's 40-some years old. She ought to know better.
Teresa, again, it's very interesting how people have been critical of those who yell defund the police, but they say nothing when those calls have actually led to changes by police departments. if they don't call for those things and demand those changes, these things don't happen.
Right. So advocates, community organizations, and of course, our media personalities need to continuously call them out, because if we do not call them out where they are, then these issues, and we're still having these conversations and we're still having these dialogues, and nothing's ever going to be fixed. So yes, the marches work, the rallies work. I think there was a blog that I was reading the other day, and somebody said, does these items work? Does the protesting back in, the 50s and 60s work? And yes, they do work. Because like you said, Roland, if we don't bring it to the forefront, if we don't identify the problem, there's no way we can find a solution. So yes, I think some of the mental health and the autism trained advocates are something that, again, they're getting funding. They're getting nonprofit funding to do it. But now you have people who work within those organizations now in the neighborhoods and the communities to react to the situation first, since unfortunately some of that training isn't happening inside of the precincts.
Well, and this also, Avis, is why people who are activists must keep doing what they're doing. Look, you're going to have political people who are going to whine and complain about saying, oh, well, these things are wrong. But no, when you're out there in the streets, that's what your job is. Your job is not to make political folks comfortable.
Yeah, well, to me, it really takes people on both sides of the power dynamic, right? You need people in the streets putting pressure from the outside to influence people on the inside who are working in tandem for the things that you care about. And so that's really what it takes. You have to really force people to change. Just like Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. And that demand takes place in various different forms, including protests, which are absolutely essential to changing this centuries-old killing machine, quite frankly, that was born of being able to track down and murder people who were enslaved and trying to get to freedom to this very day, when oftentimes we are killed for no reason at all. So kudos to the protesters, and also kudos to those on the inside, like this particular mayor, and also like the Attorney General in Minnesota, who are able to do the things that are necessary to make sure that we have progress in this movement.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.